Welcome back, everyone, to Highlighted in All Sports Culture podcast. Sam, Sully, Kurt, delayed a little bit. This will probably come out Wednesday night, maybe even Thursday morning, but wanted to get a podcast out before the NFL playoffs start this Saturday. First off, I want to say the schedule is fucking terrible for this weekend. Here's my biggest pet peeve, too.
I disagree.
Why was the Jaguars-Titans game not the Sunday night football game?
Because Packers.
No, but it's stupid. Jaguars Titans win and you're in. That did not apply to both teams in Sunday night. That's always how it's been.
It was bad scheduling for sure, but it's Aaron Rodgers.
I got a problem with it. I'm going to NFL and
didn't even matter. The Seahawks thing didn't even matter in the end because fucking Green Bay stinks. So,
well, whatever. I don't
want to talk about that team.
Is what I would do. Whatever.
I do think Jaguars Titans should have been Sunday Night Football.
Thank you. See, that's all I say. People should listen
that's
to me
also revisionist history speaking. So
I don't give a fuck. Okay,
I don't either.
They're gonna hire me as scheduling coordinator for the NFL.
Scheduling coordinator. That'd be a fun job. That's all you do is you just schedule the games.
Well, you
probably just throw them in an AI and then it does it for them.
No, because you got to take into account, you got to take into account. Well, yeah, probably. Well, yeah, that makes sense because you just put all the concerts and other things that are going on at the stadium, so he doesn't interfere.
Like Rihanna. You guys want to hear a Rihanna rumor that I heard?
What?
Sure.
I don't know. Someone said she's an alcoholic, but that's not possible because she has a baby. So I feel that would. Someone was like, apparently there's some difficulties with the halftime show. She's not really working. She's not practicing. And then someone said she's a raging alcoholic, which I don't believe that part because she has a baby. And
she's not pregnant right now though.
She's not?
No. Is she had her baby, didn't she?
Yeah, that's what I thought.
Oh, she already had the baby. Oh, so she's definitely raging alcoholic. She has a baby. She's got to be raging alcoholic.
I'll double check this.
Yeah, you got it. Yeah,
no. I'm telling you, it's not. You're not going to find it anywhere. This is inside scoop.
She had her baby.
Yeah, you're just gonna talk about the baby.
Okay, yeah,
the baby in May.
No, yeah, I've heard she's not really practicing, and there's some difficulties and whatever. And I also heard she might be an alcoholic. I don't know. Putting that.
She was at the Globes last night. Maybe she was getting hammered at the Golden Globes.
She looked hammered.
She took a big fat L.
Yeah. Did she?
What was
deserved L?
Yeah, you got a problem with Rihanna?
Deserved
L.
I mean, I don't got a problem of it, but I'm saying not to deserve the dub. That's what
Dude, they were so hyped when they won. They were like
exactly when they perform at the Oscars, it's gonna be the most hype shit in the planet.
Are they definitely performing?
Oh, if they get nominated, they're gonna perform because the Oscars.
Who the fuck is not to?
Oh, Sully. May I introduce?
Is this K-pop?
Pure cinema. RRR. Just go watch it, man.
Oh, I heard about that movie.
You actually have?
Yeah. Did it come out already?
Yeah.
Came out a few months ago.
Well,
what country do you think it's from, Sully?
I don't know, but I saw a tweet or something about it premiering in China, and there was a problem. Maybe I didn't watch the video, but it seemed like it was funny, maybe, or they
those are the type of videos
something out. I don't know.
Watching while you're taking your shit. That's
I probably would. Yeah, that probably would have been a good experience.
Yeah.
But yeah, what happened? I don't know. What country is it from? I don't know.
India.
Okay. That's fine.
All right.
All right.
That's fine.
It went down from an 8.5 to a 7.
Man. I love different cultures. Come on.
Yeah.
Literally a cultural melting pot.
We're all about
yeah.
Yeah. All right.
You know what else I want to say, and this has nothing to do with what we're talking about. I am doing I was listening to one of the episodes back the other day. My mic sounds it sounds horrible.
It's fine.
Really bad. No, dude, it sounds horrible. It sounds like I'm talking into a fucking go listen to it in one of the episodes. It sounds like I'm talking into a fucking toaster made by Johannes Gutenberg in 1786. It's
history major coming out right
and you
there.
know what's crazy?
Most usage for ASC.
And Johannes Gutenberg probably, I don't know, he was definitely born in the 18s, maybe 1890.
Close enough.
But dude, I think I might have the most expensive setup right now. Sam, how much was your mic?
My mic?
Like, how much is your setup? I have
Oh, God,
I have a Go LXR, which was 250, and my mic was like 150.
Okay, are you talking like PC and
No,
everything
just
else?
like your mic, like
My
The
mic
webcam.
arm, and webcam.
Yeah.
well, not even your webcam because it doesn't have to do with your sound.
I have a
But do you have
Okay.
like an XLR mic, or do you have like a
no.
USB, or like?
This is an Elgato Wave 3 mic. It's like $100,
Okay.
and then I bought the Rode mic arm, which is also like 100. It's like 80 something, and then
So you're
that's
up
it for
220.
audio.
Yep.
That's it for audio, I think.
Yeah. My Go LXR was 250. That's because it was like during COVID and everyone was trying to be a streamer and they fucking pumped the prices up like crazy.
Yeah.
But and this mic I think was like 150. It's a pretty good mic. It's like an AT something. I forget what it's AT 2020. Sounds like a fucking Star Wars.
It sounds fine. It's not that
It sounds
bad.
like shit, dude.
Okay.
You might just be using the equipment incorrectly.
Oh, I'm
being-
100%.
Do you have a mixer?
Yeah, that's the Go LXR. It's like a mini like mixer thing.
Yeah.
But like it sits on the ground and it looks like someone fucking took a shit on it. So I'm assuming I'm definitely doing something wrong. I'm not treating it correctly. I also am holding it in my hand like this. Half the time it's on the table. Do you hear? Is there a difference when I go like this compared to like when I'm like this?
Yes.
And this is
Well,
much better.
That's just
Yeah.
the space. That's just the audio difference of the mic being, because that's a cardioid mic probably. So
Yeah.
do you even
Well,
know what I just said?
Cardioid. That means like it only takes the sound from one direction.
Oh, good on you,
I'm a
Sully.
genius. I'm a
There you go.
genius.
There you go.
You
Yeah,
need
I'm a genius.
you need to hire Sam to come and check out the mic and make him fix it. He'll pay you $2, and Sam
That's
will.
a pretty good deal.
That's
Yeah,
more
Sam-
than I've gotten.
That's
paid
more
at
than he's gotten paid for ASC, All right, let's move on to the national championship. What a game that was. TCU, Georgia. What do you guys think?
Well, I really like the post we had, and we did it in the third quarter. I think it was like beginning of the fourth, and we were like,
Dude.
"Yeah, it's over. Like, there's no point." I hate those type of games because it literally was over from the third drive. Like, not like I know people are gonna say like it was over from the start. Like, realistically speaking, obviously TCU went 3 and out, Georgia easily went down, but you still think in the back of your mind like it could flip. But when it went, what was it?
Well, TCU got a touchdown after the fumble.
I think it was 17-0, and then they scored the touchdown, right? Or was
I thought it was
10-7?
10-7.
It was
10-7.
It was
Okay,
10-7 after, because it was Georgia scored on the first drive, and then they got a field goal off the fumble because TCU had the stand, and then TCU scored a touchdown after that, and it was 10-7, and then Georgia just marched down the field, had the Brock Bowers touchdown, and then it was basically they just never looked back after that.
Sorry, keep going.
Oh, that was all I had to say.
And I think my biggest pet peeve from this game, and something I want to talk about, is I don't want anyone to say like TCU did not deserve to be in this national championship, because even if Michigan's playing in that game, it's probably not a 58-point score margin. And there's a lot of teams out there where it's probably not that big of a score. But again, we go back to the college football playoff. It has to be done on a 12-month resume. And they beat Michigan, who leading up to that game was the definitive number 2 team in the country. Look, Georgia's beating any team in the country, right? And I still go back to the Ohio State game where Ohio State, that was the closest Georgia's played against a team all season long. But if you play that game 10 times, Georgia's probably winning 9 out of the 10 times still. And I guarantee you in more than half of those games, they're winning by more than double digits. So look, I know that's the beauty of football. It's only one game. That's why we like these playoffs more than NHL, NBA, because it is a best of 7, and MLB. That's why we love NFL, because it is one game and anything can happen. But again, Georgia ultimately proved throughout this whole way they are the best team in the country. As me and Sam talked about on the YouTube video, and we've talked about on this podcast before, like Georgia's not slowing down anytime soon. Like in the next couple of years, they are going to be the definitive. Them and Alabama are going to be the definitive elites of the whole country, and they proved it back-to-back championships. Say what you want about Stetson, he threw for 4 touchdowns, ran for 1 or 2, whatever it was. Like he had a great game, so they're great.
Stetson will still find a way to get another year of eligibility before he becomes a car salesman. He will do that till the end of time.
Yeah.
He'll find some loophole.
I just love the tweets where it's like, you got to hand it to Stetson Bennett, man. Like the first half, they think you're going to praise it. It's like, you got to hand it to Stetson Bennett. Like he looks really good for being a car salesman next year. And it's
Ghetto Gronk.
Yeah.
That was Ghetto Gronk's caption.
Was it really?
Yeah.
Oh, well.
Because he's the GOAT.
Sully,
I give that kid
that man so much.
I give that kid way, and he has no idea. I give him way too much credit.
You should email him, be like, I'm actually your biggest fan. You just have no idea.
Well, I mean, I've talked to him before about like ASC and stuff, but he doesn't know. No, he has no idea like who I am or that I like say all this shit about him. But
in a year, he'll know you and he'll be looking up to you.
Well, obviously, yeah.
In a metaphorical sense, not a. In real life, he'd be looking down on you, but yeah.
And I think
you think he's really like 6'7"? That's kind of crazy.
I mean, if he's 5'3", it's enough.
To go back to the game too, I think it's so fitting too how we had like just this incredible college football season. We never have good semifinals, and we had two of the best semifinals ever. And then of course, like in the biggest matchup ever, it's the worst game we've ever seen. Had the lowest ratings of all time. Which I think partly is because of how shitty the game was, but also it's TCU. So
yeah, and I mean it is TCU, and the semifinals were fucking incredible. And I'm sure if Ohio State beats Georgia last week, this is different, and this game is way closer. Like I think Ohio State TCU would have been a fucking unreal finals, even though Georgia's the better team between the two of them. But TCU had a fantastic season. Kind of sucks that they didn't win their bowl game nor the Natty, which kind of sucks for them because this was such a remarkable season. It's the best season they've ever had. Have they won a Natty before? I don't even know.
No.
I didn't think they have. I didn't know if it was like in the 40s or some shit. They pulled some shit out of their ass.
It doesn't count if it was.
Well,
I mean, even before like the 80s, football wasn't a thing. It was just like
backyard
pigskin, not even football.
Yeah, well, the broadcast was like talking about Georgia winning in 80 and then they won 40 years later and things like that. But it's just like, yeah, Kurt, Georgia is going to be top 2 every year for ever now. As long as Kirby Smart is there, they're going to be a powerhouse. And I don't think that's really up for debate. It's going to be interesting to see how TCU recovers after this year because they're going to be losing a lot of players to the draft. Tomlinson, Duggan, probably Miller.
Quentin Johnston, wide receiver.
Johnston. Yeah, they're going to be, their whole O-line is like 28 years old, I swear. The broadcast was talking about their offensive line is full of graybeards, and I thought that was funny. But they're going to be losing a lot of pieces on offense and then their best corner. So this is the first year of this regime. So good shit. But like, we'll see how they pick it up after the fact.
Yeah. So you got any other thoughts?
Good luck to everyone involved.
Wait, can I ask Sully one thing?
Ask me anything. I know the answer.
Just make it about Caleb Williams.
Well, I was going to ask. So a few weeks ago, when we were debating this about what you wanted to see in the college football playoff, you're like, I don't want to see TCU if they lose their bowl game. I want to see Ohio State, Alabama. Based on the results that we got, because USC didn't make it because they lost their game, they ended up getting a way lower seed than they should have, by the way. But
they would have lost whatever matchup they were given. They don't play defense.
But
it's true.
Based on what we got, TCU being the 3 seed and Ohio State being the 4, how was your viewing experience as a person that does not watch college football? Because this is one of the best college football seasons we've had in a long time.
From someone who watches every minute of every game. The semifinals were unbelievable. Obviously the championship was complete trash, but like Kurt said, it wasn't like they didn't deserve to be there. There really was no other team that you could have put there. So it's not even like you can really say anything. It's just kind of unfortunate. Do I think Alabama would have put up a 10 times better fight? Yeah, 100%. But at the end of the day, Alabama didn't deserve as much as TCU to be there. The only reason people were saying Alabama is because they thought they were better, and it's Alabama. But you got to put the team that you think like actually has the resume. TCU did, and they were able to beat Michigan, the team that, like you said, was number 2 the entire year. So they definitely deserve to be there, but they got fucking stomped.
And that's
Matthew
why
Sullivan. Oh, go ahead, Kurt.
And that's why I know we always come back to this, but that's why you literally need the expanded playoff, because you're getting both the best teams possible, because Alabama, like you said, are probably matching up better than a lot of teams like that would make the top 4 every single year. But also from a resume standpoint, obviously, like we said, you've got to look at it too on a 12-month sample size, who most deserved it. So that's why 12 teams can be really good, because you're getting both the TCUs and the Alabamas of the world. And if TCU really does want to win a national championship, obviously, as we say, they got to go through the best teams, and we'll truly see that if they're proving it on a resume sample size, if they can actually win a national championship. So, but yeah.
Yeah, and I think the fact that like you can lose to 10, I don't know what I'm saying. The fact that you can lose 2 games and kind of just be like, oh, you can't make the playoffs anymore. Like, you're fucked. You lost 2 games. Like, you have no chance. That's so stupid, because you could lose 2 games and you could theoretically maybe be the best team. Like, Alabama maybe could have won that game. Probably not, but they could have. And it was like, all right, they're just not going to make it because they lost these games in like the middle of their year. But it's like, if you do a 12-team playoff and theoretically they get hot and or not even hot, like they are just that team and they win it, it's like they deserved it. Even though they lost 2 games over the year, if you can win in a 12-team playoff, you're the best team.
Right. And we saw Alabama, when they were the 4 seed, they got in with 2 losses. They ultimately won the national championship. So it's like, to your point, even though they have 2 losses, it doesn't matter if you're still the best team, and they rolled through both those opponents. All right, let's move on to NFL. How we'll format it is we'll just go one by one. Sully will start, and Sam, you go next. I'll go last. Go. You kind of do your old bracket. You talk a little bit about each game. Obviously, probably more of the first round matchups. So then you'll give your Super Bowl predictions and shit. So, Sully, if you want to start
predictions and shit, here we go. All right, so I'll start off in the AFC, the 5 and the 4, Chargers versus the Jaguars. I'm happy the Jaguars made it. I was a big Trevor Lawrence guy in college. One of my friends went to Clemson. He was obsessed with Trevor Lawrence. He was like, he's going to be the greatest quarterback of all time. He was kind of kidding, but actually he wasn't. And I mean, at Clemson, Trevor Lawrence was ridiculous.
I still think he's the greatest true freshman quarterback of all time.
Yeah, no, it was insane.
Yeah.
I'm happy that he was able to turn around this year, because obviously last year was like a dumpster fire, but that was for many reasons. And I think even like next year, Calvin Ridley's reinstated. I think it's going to be kind of a crazy offense. But Chargers, Jags, I got to go with the Chargers, obviously. Justin Herbert, come on. I think this could be like a kind of like a duel, though, low key, like an offensive duel, which I'd be excited to see. Justin Herbert, he's never been to the playoffs, so this is kind of crazy. And Justin Herbert, like, obviously he's amazing, and if you watch him play, like, just the eye test, he's kind of like one of the better quarterbacks in the league. Obviously his stats obviously are pretty good as well, but man, this guy, he gets a pass, I think, from I wouldn't say a pass, but like people just throw him in the top 3-4 quarterbacks, and it's like
social media QB.
Not exactly, but like a little bit. It's kind of like Herbert's at 4 or 5 in every list. And it's kind of just like, all right, so if you're breaking down the top 10 quarterbacks, you talk about 1, you're like Mahomes, obviously, blah, blah, blah. You go 2, Josh Allen, he could do this, he could do that, blah, blah, blah. I feel like people get to Herbert and they kind of just like glide over a little bit. They're like, Herbert's 4, he's really good. He can make a lot of throws, look on good throw power. And then they just go to the next guy. And because obviously Herbert really has nothing to show for it. He's very young, but it's like, I don't know. So I'm interested to see in this playoffs. I think this is going to be a big, like if he loses to the Jags, has a shitty game, this is going to be some talk, I think. But regardless, I'm going with the Chargers to win that matchup. 6-3 Ravens, Bengals. Lamar Jackson's out again, which is insane because I feel like 2 weeks ago, he was like in the discussion, like maybe he could play. And then the next week came up and he was like, oh, I think he'll be able to play. Then he didn't play again. I was like, oh, he's definitely going to be in the playoffs. Ruled out again, or not ruled out of yet, but pretty much it's looking unlikely. So I think the Ravens kind of get stomped here, even though this is like a division game and it could be weirdly close. I think when Kirk gets his bracket, I actually kind of like his. I think the Bengals are like a sneaky team. Obviously, they've been here before. They were literally in the Super Bowl last year, and Joe Burrow is a beast. So I kind of like the Bengals. I think they're a sneaky team. 7-2 Dolphins, Bills. These last two matchups are dog shit, obviously. Not really the team's fault. Lamar's out.
Tua's been ruled out. Yeah, right.
Tua's been ruled out. Yeah, I mean, like Skylar Thompson, that sounds like an Abercrombie model. I don't know this is not going to work. They're probably going to get stomped. I don't know the weather for that game, but that should also be kind of interesting. But yeah, that's what I have in the first round of the AFC. First round of the
Steelers.
Yeah,
fuck the Jets, man.
The Mike Tomlin stats are absurd, by the way. Like one of the craziest stats in sports, in my opinion. Yep. Not even the fact that he's had that many years of not being under 500. It's the fact that yeah, he isn't losing seasons, but out of like 256 games played or something, he's only had like 4 or like something ridiculous where he's been under 500. It's like something insane like that. He's just never under 500. Yeah.
And the funny thing is, next year people are going to say Steelers aren't going to win 9 games. It's going to happen.
Oh yeah. Well, I mean, I said it this year. I thought they were going to kind of suck, and they were kind of sucking. And then he
is the best like in-season adjustment coach in the league. It's just he always figures shit out. It's great, but
except he won't like make any big changes in the off season, which is the problem with him, because obviously Matt Canada is the fucking worst offensive coordinator in the planet.
Terps, ex-Terps coach.
They're keeping him, even though like them basically making the playoffs out of their control saved his job, and that's kind of a bad thing for them. But
yeah,
I mean, before the season, I remember in our predictions, I was like, I'm not picking the Steelers to lose less than 9 games until I see it. And you were like,
haven't seen it.
You were like roasting me for it, Sully. I remember, and I was like,
yeah, I don't know what I had him at. I think I had him at like
put him in the fryer and roast him.
Yeah, but but they didn't make playoffs, so doesn't matter. But over 500,
it would have been better than the Dolphins with Skylar Thompson.
Yes, it
100%.
Pickett's been really good as of late.
Yeah, wait, Kenny Two Gloves.
Yeah,
Kenny Two Gloves. He's dog.
NFC first round, Cowboys, Bucks. My rule is I will break this rule, but I'm going to follow it in the first round. Don't bet against Tom Brady until he is dead on the field, which is probably going to happen pretty soon because he's so old and he was not good this year. And the Bucs as a whole were not good. But at the end of the day, the Cowboys have been very up and down this year. There was a 4 or 5 game stretch where they were the best team in the league. Now Dak turns the ball over every single game. I'm going to take the Bucs here. Regardless of who wins this, I don't think either team's going very far. Like the Cowboys just make too many mistakes, and the Bucs are just the Bucs. They've sucked this year, but I'll trust Tom Brady for a first round victory. Giants, Vikings. I think this will probably be the best game, honestly, of the first round. I got to go Giants, obviously, and I hate saying like they should have won in like any kind of concept, but obviously when the Giants played the Vikings a couple weeks ago, the Vikings hit a 63-1.
I think it was 64, right?
It was something very stupid. And there's a stat that's like there's been 6 like 60+ yard game-winning field goals, and half of them have been against the Giants. And I literally called him before that drive. I'm like, this guy's gonna hit a 60-yard field goal.
Is this game in prime time?
I think it's 4:30.
It's 4:30 on Fox.
Yeah, 4:30.
Oh, that's past noon.
It's got the Burkhardt Olsen broadcast, so it's going to be fire.
Is it? No, wait, it's in Minnesota. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. But I'm going to go Giants. They're actually like pretty healthy. One of them like healthier than they've been most of the season. Daniel Jones has been playing really, really well.
Dude,
I know it
Kenny
was against the
Galladay
Colts, but
touchdown.
Kenny Galladay touchdown.
Don't mess with him.
My dad was
Richie
talking
James,
to me.
goated.
My dad was talking to me. He's like, dude, Kenny Galladay, like, what if he turns into that guy and like can be that top receiver? And I'm like, this is not going to happen. Like, just because he caught one touchdown, the guy's been trash for 2 years.
Well, it was funny when he had the first down and everyone was like, alert, like Kenny Galladay has gotten a first down. It's like massive news. So
yeah, no, the Giants fans go insane when he makes like a 3-yard catch. It's hilarious. But yeah, so we'll see. I don't know. When he caught the touchdown, like Dable was like talking to him on the bench. He was probably like, "You're the key, Kenny. Like if you can go off, like we're gonna make a run." But which is not completely false. If Kenny Galladay somehow turned into the Lions like prime,
he just
Kenny
needs
Galladay,
half of that. Like
that's exactly what we need. But yeah, I don't like he sucks. I've given up on him definitely. But I think we could edge it out. I think it would be like a low scoring like dogfight kind of game. Seahawks, Niners. I'm taking the Niners. Brock Purdy's been one of the better QBs since he's taken over. The 49ers offense obviously is probably, the best weapons in the league. So that kind of helps him, and the best scheme. So I'm going to take that. Geno kind of has teetered off a little bit. Definitely started way hotter than he's been recently. But actually, I still think he's been a great QB this year. So for the second round, AFC, Chiefs, Chargers. Got to go with the Chiefs here. The Chiefs are going to be my team, as you'll see in my bracket. I always am going to bet on Mahomes. He's the best player in the league. And I still don't really trust the Chargers too much. Staley's been kind of shit. It's just they should be so much better than they have been. So I don't really trust them. Then for the Bengals, Bills, this game is going to be incredible. I'm kind of conflicted on this, honestly. I have the Bills that we posted in the graphic. I don't want to change it to the Bengals. I might be on the Kurt bandwagon here.
Let's go.
I think the Bengals, I'm going to go Bengals. I think that,
yes.
I don't know, man. Josh Allen, he just makes some stupid plays for a quarterback that's really, really good. Definitely the second best quarterback in the league. 98% of snaps. He has 2-3 plays a game where he looks like an idiot and makes a really stupid decision. And that can definitely lose you a playoff game. So I'll go Bengals there, but I think that's going to be a great game. Eagles, Giants, of course. Come on. It's not even a question. I think my brain tells me the Eagles will win this game. The Eagles roster is just way too good. But my heart's telling me Giants. I'll go Giants. I think it's a little Cinderella run. Dable, Bucks, Niners. I think the Niners destroy them. I don't even think this game's close. But it's Tom Brady. But I got to go with the Niners. Then Chiefs, Bengals. I'm going to take the Chiefs. Little rematch here, actually. I just realized.
Yeah.
That'll be a great game. Every time the Chiefs and Bengals play, it's always amazing.
Bengals
and I
come
feel
out
like
on top every time, though.
the Bengals kind of have their number. But I'm going to take the Chiefs this time. I think if you give Mahomes, that many chances to beat a team, he's going to take it. So I'll go him. Giants, Niners.
Do it, Sully. Come on.
Dude, Giants Niners NFC Championship game from what was that?
2012,
like
right?
2011, 2012. Yeah.
No, it was 11. It was 11. Yeah.
Yeah, dude, that shit was unbelievable game.
I remember where I was. It was at my friend's house. I was 9 years old, and I was like, fuck the Giants, go Redskins. And when they won, I was crying in my bed. I hate the Giants.
Yeah. Hey, that was an unbelievable game.
Words times, baby. What a guy.
Yeah. Oh my
God. I hate the Giants after that season. I don't hate them anymore, but after that game, the game prior to that game.
Yeah.
Yeah. Seriously. That was a good one as well.
Shut up.
I was super. Wow. We were young watching that shit.
I know.
We were young. I
remember that.
Game
I had a lot of people in my house watching that game. Well, that was a game-winning field goal, right?
Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah.
And
shit was 5 degrees too.
The
There's snow everywhere.
Yep.
Yeah.
Oh wait, you're talking about the Niners game? Yeah.
Yes.
All right. Niners, Giants. I'm gonna take Niners to win. That's what my brain is telling me. The Niners have been unbelievable, which is so funny because I actually watched a TikTok today, like a Niners kind of like hype video. And it was like, Brock Purdy being drafted. And it was like Trey Lance going down and whatnot. And it was like showing their losses. And it was like the 49ers like got dominated by the Falcons this year. Like, that's hilarious.
Yeah.
And now, like, I feel a large majority of the people are picking them to win the NFC. And it's like, this team just lost to the Falcons this year, but that's the NFL, obviously. But I think it's funny. But I'm picking the Niners as well, with that being said. And I'm going to go Chiefs winning the Super Bowl. Mahomes, man. I got to go Mahomes, Andy Reid, Travis Kelce. It's a squad right there. I'm ride or die.
The fucking ring around the Rosie play was just absurd.
Dude, I was like, people are talking about like, oh, it was like funny, whatever. Like, that seems like a good strategy.
It's a great play call.
They were set for like half a second. You have no idea what the fuck they're doing.
Exactly. Yeah. And it's just constant movement.
Yeah. And then the actual play that they did out of it was kind of crazy.
Right. Because you got the lead blockers on the left side too. So
yeah. And it was like, fucking like reverse, Austin Mahomes throwback. Like, it was interesting. That's Andy Reid though. He's a crack addict.
He is. We did crack together. It was wild.
Yes. He's really good at it.
Yeah. All right.
That's my bracket though. Chiefs, Super Bowl champions, Patrick Mahomes.
I like it. I like that.
What's your score prediction
for the Super Bowl?
So you got a rematch though. I just realized that.
Rematch of what?
Chiefs Niners.
Oh yeah. I think it will be pretty high scoring, honestly, even though obviously the Niners have a really good defense. I think it will probably be like I'll go 31-24 Chiefs.
Nice.
That's it. The script has been leaked.
Sorry, all right, guys. Boss. Yep. Sweet. All right, Samuel. We just heard what am I saying? We just heard Sully's picks. Sully, unfortunately, had to go take a call, so he is not joining us for this latter half of the podcast. But we heard his predictions. He's got Chiefs Niners 31-24. Sam, hit us with your bracket, sir.
All right. Here we go. My bracket's a little weird. And I feel like you two would hate it. I'm glad Sully left, because then I just only have to fight against one person.
Hey, don't worry. I'm like two people combined in one. I'm just how inferior I am.
Okay,
yeah,
okay.
Right. Everyone's scared of me. My 5'8" self.
You're still looking down on Sully.
Exactly.
It's funny is I'm looking at this graphic, and the graphic that they're using has like a player for each team, and the player they use for the Bucks is Leonard Fournette, which I thought was very funny.
Yeah.
All right. So we started with Jags Chargers, correct?
Yes, sir.
All right. So for this game, I found this game to be the best game of the weekend, in all honesty.
I completely agree. It's got that Saturday night feel too. It's gonna be great.
It's the first game of the week, though, isn't it?
Second. Niners Seahawks is at 4:30 on Saturday.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, this is the night game on Saturday. Okay, good. That is good.
Yes.
But yeah, I agree. I think this is the best game of the weekend. Giants Vikings, I think, is a very close second, though. This game is going to be back and forth. It's going to be awesome. It's going to be the two luscious locks quarterbacks in the NFL dueling it out. And I think these are the two most fan favorite QBs.
Yeah,
in the league.
Probably.
I did want to bring this up when Sully was talking about Justin Herbert. But I didn't want to disturb the amount of time that we had. What he brought up with Herbert, with people just gliding over him, I just want to say, people aren't putting Jalen Hurts to the same tier that Justin Herbert is at, even though Hurts has had an amazing season. And Jalen Hurts, relative to Justin Herbert, would you say Jalen Hurts had a better season than any season Justin Herbert has had?
Yeah.
Okay. But no one's putting Jalen Hurts in that top 5 range. I'm just saying this as a Sully. I think Herbert's the better quarterback. Okay. I'm not saying, but I'm just saying. And then we have Lamar Jackson. Lamar Jackson has done much more in his career than Herbert has ever done. but people seem to perennially put Justin Herbert above him. I think this is an interesting discussion. That's all I just want to say.
I also think a lot of it is the Herbert crowd. I think the passionate ones are people who thought he was going to be good in the NFL. And you find a lot of obviously like the Lamar people in the world and the Jalen Hurts are people who didn't believe in it. Like I didn't think Jalen Hurts and Lamar Jackson would be that good in the NFL. And I think people still hold on to that. Like we always talk about how people always think they're right. I think that's like their subconscious telling them like, you still think they're not good or some shit. And I think that like with Justin Herbert, even though there were some question marks, a lot of people did think he was going to be pretty good in the NFL. So that's why. And I also think a lot of people think Justin Herbert is going to be more consistent over the years. Like, I think people have this, I think people think that like Jalen Hurts might go down like the Carson Wentz train where like he could have a bad year really soon and we're all not really surprised. I don't think that's going to happen. I'm just saying I think that's what people think. So that's why I think people are discrediting them and praising Herbert per se.
Yeah, like when we made the post where it was the ranking the quarterbacks based on how we would take them in a playoff game, we had Herbert at 4. And I thought that was ridiculous. Tom Brady was behind him. Are you fucking telling me you're not taking Tom Brady over a quarterback that's never played in a playoff game? No.
Yeah.
You're never doing that. I'm taking Tom Brady every time. We had Jalen Hurts above Lamar. No. Jalen Hurts had a fantastic year, but the one time we've seen Jalen Hurts in the playoffs, he was horrible. It was one of the worst QB performances I've ever seen in the playoffs. He was that bad. Obviously, the supporting cast is unbelievable this year. And Lamar's is fucking terrible. And like, I get that, but we're not ranking them based on how good they are with the supporting cast they have. We're ranking them based on if we had them on the same team, if every quarterback was placed on the same team. I don't know. That was just a gripe I have at that list. And I wanted to counter Sully because Sully said, never bet against Tom Brady. And then in the chat, he literally was betting against Tom Brady and defended Justin Herbert over Tom Brady, even though he said Justin Herbert was just a brush over guy and never betting against Tom Brady. We'll get to Tom Brady later in the list, later in the thing. Sorry. I just thought that was an interesting discussion point. But I'm going to go coming into the year. I had the Chargers as my most winning team in the NFL. I had them tied with the Eagles. I think both of them I had at 14-3. Obviously I was right about one of them. I was kind of right about the other one, but not really. I still think this team would have been really freaking good if they were healthy the whole year. But they have a lot of problems on offense with their play calling, and they're not taking advantage of Justin Herbert. The receivers have been kind of regressing. Keenan Allen has not been the same player. And their offensive line has been shifting, all that kind of stuff. Their defense has been pretty good. But I believe in the Jaguars, man. Jacksonville is the truth. They're at home, prime time. This is their first playoff game in 5 years. And before that, they've had like no success. I'm going to go with the Jaguars. I don't know. Do you want to do these back and forth? Because I feel like just going back to you would be like no discussion.
Yeah, that's fine.
We just had to do Sully's first because.
Well, I think if the Jaguars, how many games would the Jaguars have to win for us to buy this? What do you think?
In the playoffs?
Yes. I think if they win
AFC
2
games. AFC Championship.
If they win 2 games in the AFC Championship, I will be buying this. And so if they win that game against Kansas City in the divisional round, we're going to buy this. We're going to put on our khaki pants and we're going to rock that with the podcast going into that last game.
I agree.
Okay.
I'm down to do it.
I'm glad we're on the same page.
But I am picking the Jaguars. I believe in them. I think their defense is going to really come to play. I think their offense is really fun. And I just don't believe in the Chargers play calling in these big games. Now, obviously, if you go to Justin Herbert in a 2-minute drill, good luck. But I'm just putting my faith in Jacksonville. I don't think this is the Chargers year after what I've seen. I think it's going to be another year till we actually see this team at full force.
Yeah, this feels like a game where it's going to be like 20-20.
Yes.
Jacksonville's got like a game-winning field goal from 40 yards out to win it. I don't know. I get that vibe from it. I also have the Jaguars winning. The Jaguars have been one of the best teams in the NFL since week 10, week 11, whatever it is. Trevor Lawrence has been one of the best quarterbacks in the league since then. This is going to be an unbelievable game. I'm super excited for it. I think it's going to be a little low scoring. I think it is going to be around like the 20 mark. So the over-under in the game is 47.5. I would take the under in that game.
I would too.
But these 5-4 matchups are always closer than people think. I mean, go back to when Philly was the 4 seed over Seattle. Seattle won that game, but Philly kept it close. Washington, when they played Tampa Bay. I know these are instances of the 4 seed losing, but you'll see the statistically wise and history wise, the 4 seed, even though, it's a bad divisional winner, they always keep it close against the 5 seed. I think that's going to be here. What do you think the spread is for this game?
I haven't looked. Chargers -1.5.
It's Chargers -2.
That's close enough.
I like the value there with Jacksonville plus.
I do too. I do too. I like that too.
Yeah, but I also have Jacksonville. We'll move on. I'll go next. Just we'll kind of switch off. If that's fine with you. So we got it's the 6-3 in the AFC, which would be the Ravens Bengals. I think the Bengals are the best team in the NFL, which is why I have them winning the Super Bowl. NFL. They have easily been, in my opinion, the only team that maybe comes close is Kansas City and Philadelphia. Since week 5, they have been 11-1 in their last 12 games. They look unbelievable. They're figuring it out. I know it was a slow start at first. I think so highly of the Cincinnati team. They look like they're coming at it in a different approach from last year, and they look miles better than they did in the regular season last year. Like, people forget they were a 10-7 team going to the playoffs, but I think after that Kansas City win they had last year was when it really was heating up. No, since week 6 of this year, they have really let it up. I think so much of Cincinnati, and I know you love Cincinnati too. So I'll take Cincy. I think they blow out Baltimore, especially because Baltimore has looked extremely iffy when it's not Lamar Jackson at quarterback. That's what it's going to be on Sunday. The Bengals will be at home. It's obviously going to be packed. It's going to be loud. I think Bengals will roll through it. Give me Cincy by a wide margin.
I agree. I'm the biggest Bengals dick rider known to man. You can call me a Cincinnati Bengals fan for this playoff run. But I agree. No Lamar is really going to make this tough. I mean, Lamar was playing at an MVP caliber level earlier in the season, and then he kind of started to be a little inconsistent in the middle, and then he just got hurt, and he hasn't played since. And their whole team is just, their weapons are so bad. Their run game has been cycling in and out running backs. I mean, Dobbins has been getting better progressively as he's gotten back, but he had that injury. And then they've had Kenyon Drake in, and then they have Gus Edwards in. It's just kind of there's no continuity with what this team is doing this season, except for their defense, which their defense was underperforming. Then they got Roquan, and Roquan has completely shifted that defense.
Got a bag.
But he did, deservedly so. And I just think they're not going to really be able to score. I think Cincy wins this pretty convincingly. It sucks, but the Ravens, there's that talk about DeAndre Hopkins. Ravens, fucking go get him, because my God, your receivers are terrible, and you need to get Lamar help. If he's even on the team next year, let's be real.
He's a commander.
Yeah, or a Jet, or whatever everyone else is listing him as. But yeah, I think Cincy wins this pretty convincingly.
Yep. And then next up, we got the 7-2 matchup in the AFC, which is the Dolphins-Bills. I'll let you start this time, but I don't think we have much to say.
Bills blowout. They score 40. And Dolphins score 7.
What do you think the spread is for this game?
-13.
On the money. -13.
Let's go. I'm killing it with these spreads.
You are. You should be the Vegas odds maker. Yeah, I think the Bills are
same as TCU.
Yeah. Dude,
Yikes.
That's rough. Yeah, no, I would take the Bills by a wide margin. No Tua. They looked horrible against the Jets, and they still ultimately won that game. So screw the Jets. All right, let's move on to the NFC. We'll start with the 5-4 matchup there, which is the Cowboys and the Buccaneers. I'm not even just saying this because I don't like Dallas, but they did look really bad against the Commanders. It's obviously, I know they weren't going full throttle. It was a game that didn't matter, but they still, for their starters out there in the first half, it looked really rough. Dak Prescott has been up and down the whole season. His lows are really low, and we saw that on Sunday, but obviously his highs are super high as well. I'm going to go with Tampa in this matchup just because I think Tampa Bay in the playoffs, as I'm kind of going to use Sully's logic, not necessarily betting against Tom Brady, but I think Tampa Bay as a whole, being at home, they obviously have had the playoff experience in the past couple of years. Last year, it wasn't as good as their Super Bowl winning season, but still, they beat the Eagles, as we said, beatingly so in that first round. And I think Tampa Bay in this spot could be a good upset mark for Dallas that has looked kind of bad these last couple weeks and moments. And I think that could potentially happen in front of Tampa Bay and their defense. So I'll go with Tampa Bay here, but it will be close, but it should be a good game.
This is our first difference. I'm going with Dallas, and reason being is I've liked this Dallas team for most of the year. As of late, they haven't been playing as well on offense, but Dak Prescott has been one of the more underrated quarterbacks this season. He's been very good. He's had some boneheaded moments. I mean, that Jaguars game, he got ridiculed for, but he was fucking great in that game. And that last second pick six was not his fault. He didn't look great against the Commanders, but this is the ultimate get right opportunity for Dallas. They are playing a team in Tampa Bay that is very dysfunctional right now. They are completely out of sorts on offense and on defense, where both sides of the ball are not playing up to par. I think Tom Brady is like Kevin Durant with the Nets last year, where they were underperforming the entire year, and they kind of just know that this is not the year for them, and they're sort of checked out, but they'll still kind of try. I kind of feel that way with Tampa this year. I'm not feeling any sort of like good vibes from them. I don't think Brady's on this team past this year. I think it's pretty much done. I'm going to take Dallas to win this game. Even though they haven't looked the best as of late, I think their defensive line is going to eat Tampa's offensive line for breakfast, and Tom Brady's going to be living under pressure pretty much the whole game. I think Dallas's secondary is good enough to hold up with some of those receivers. Their offense, obviously, Dallas's offense versus Tampa's defense is going to be the biggest difference. But I think Dallas's offense is good enough to pull it out. And I do think it'll be a more low-scoring game, similar to the Jaguars-Chargers game, with it being like 23 to like 14 kind of thing. But I'm going to go with the Cowboys. Ultimate get-right game.
Fair enough. Move on to another NFC East opponent, and that'll be the New York Giants. You want to start us off on this matchup and their 6-3 matchup against the Vikings?
First and foremost, I just want to say Brian Daboll is the coach of the year. Now that the Giants are officially in the playoffs, I'm giving it to him. He is unbelievably coached this team, and he's already a top 10 coach in the league. And I don't think a lot of people are really going to disagree on that. This roster isn't very good, but he has done his due diligence with it and made him a playoff squad that can legitimately win games. And somewhat convincingly as well. The Vikings, on the other hand, are the complete opposite. They are a team that doesn't convincingly win games. They win them, but they have talent that doesn't play up to par, and they always win by the skin of their teeth. And when they lose bad. They lose so bad. So I think with the Vikings, it's hard for them to beat a team twice. They beat the Packers very well in the first week of the season. They beat the Lions very well in the earlier weeks in the season. They play them both again later in the season. The Vikings got absolutely fucking stomped in those games. They have not looked up to par in offense as of late. Their defense is so bad. And now you're going up against a team that takes advantages of weaknesses with the Giants. And they know how to play their brand of football. And they've already played against the Giants, like Sully brought up. And they barely won that game. And I'm not going to pick the Vikings to win 2 games in a row based on what I've seen from them in this season. I'm going with the Giants. This is going to be an awesome game.
Yeah, I'm excited. I'm going to go with the Giants as well. A little worried because I think the Giants are turning into a popular upset pick. But I still think everything you alluded to is perfectly made sense. This Vikings team has been pretty bad as of late. They're obviously incredible in one possession games. So I really don't think this will be close. I think the Giants will win by like 10. So okay. I think not like a super blowout, but I don't think it's going to be like a 3-point game. The Giants have looked great. Even in that last game against Philadelphia, I know they didn't look great. But in the second half, particularly, they did make a good comeback, and you saw the signs of strengths that they had on this roster. So I will pick the Giants here. And I think that'll raise a lot of question marks for this Vikings team moving forward. But I'll go with the Giants as well.
I do want to say I would not pick the Giants against any other team in the NFC except the Vikings.
Not even the Seahawks?
No, I think the Seahawks would win that game.
In New York, you think Seattle?
No.
Okay.
In Seattle, I pick the Seahawks.
Yeah,
but
that makes sense.
The Giants, when you get in the playoffs, it gets to a point at some point where the talent that you're playing against is too good to overcome. And we'll get to that when we get to their Philly matchup, because I assume you're also going to have them facing Philly, unless you have Seattle beating San Fran. But the Vikings are like the prototypical team that the Giants would take advantage of, based on what we've seen this season. So.
Yeah, and to talk about the Seahawks game, Seahawks-Niners last game, I said before this game, or before the spreads came out, take the Niners spread, whatever it is. What do you think it is?
Plus or minus -6.5.
-10.
Really?
I'm still taking the Niners.
I didn't think you'd be that high. I thought they'd be like, oh, Brock Purdy.
Yeah.
Seattle's it's a divisional game.
Yeah.
Have they split the series this year? I don't know. Did they split?
I have no idea.
I'll check.
Okay. Yeah, I'll give my reasoning. Yeah, I'm not going to spend too much time on this. If you follow the podcast, you know how high I am, or a lot of us are high on this San Francisco team, probably the best, well-coached team in the NFL. Maybe the Giants overtake that, but San Fran's right there. I think highly of this team, and obviously we say what we want about Seattle. Maybe they didn't deserve to get in the playoffs. Maybe the Packers, the Lions should have gotten there. But Seattle, they had a great first half of the season, looked like they were going to be cruising to the playoffs. Geno Smith has not looked great in the back half of the year. This team as a whole has not looked great in the back half of the year, but I have full faith in the San Fran team to get it done. And I think they'll cover the 10 points and they'll be cruising to the second round. So not much to say. If you follow the San Fran all year long, you know how good. And obviously the biggest concern with this team is Brock Purdy. We talk about how unpredictable it is for these first-time players to get into the playoffs. I mean, that was Lamar's biggest knock when he first got to the playoffs. He obviously had a meltdown, and we've seen that with loads of other quarterbacks in the league. Jalen Hurts from last year. It's a tough task, but I do think this team is so well-rounded and well-rostered that Brock Purdy can survive a little bit. But the biggest question mark is, I think we'll talk about this more when they are playing the Philadelphias, or if they get to the Super Bowl and they're playing these tougher opponents, if they're going to have Brock Purdy make a play. We've seen it a couple times throughout the season. We saw it in that Thursday night game against Seattle when it was a low-scoring game. It was terrible conditions. Brock Purdy, he made a couple plays. But in the playoffs, when it truly matters and he has to do a 2-minute drill, Will he be able to get it done? I don't think he has to worry about that in this game. Give me the Niners by a lot.
Yeah. Niners are going to smoke him. That's my take. I looked at it, and San Fran is 2-0 against Seattle this year.
All right.
First game was in week 2. They stomped them. And then the second game was in week...
he has like 15 or 14.
Week 15.
Okay.
And they
that was
won
the
by
13-9 game, right?
They won by 1 score, 21-13.
Oh shit. I remember that game. It was a Thursday night game, I think. All right, cool. Let's move on to the next round. I don't think we'll spend as much time because we obviously talked a little bit about both. But anyway, yeah, how do you want to format this? Do you want to because we have it a little bit different. You want to just have one person kind of roll through it real quick?
Well, our AFCs are the same, and then our NFCs are different.
Okay.
Well, let's just go each game, and then we'll say which game we have, and then we'll.
All right, so we'll go the AFC. Bengals, Bills, we have the same, so we can start there. I'm going to take the Bengals. I think they are the best team in the NFL. I think this will be an incredible matchup. This gives off the vibe of Jacksonville versus Pittsburgh in 2017. I think the Bills will be favored than more people think in this matchup. I think it'll be a 5 or 6 point spread. But I think Cincinnati, it's a great spot for them. Like I said, I think they've been the best team in the league. They're not afraid to beat opponents on the road. I think that applies here. We saw it especially last year in the playoffs going on the road in those last 2 games, obviously beating the Chiefs at the end. So I think the Bengals will get it done here.
I'm going to go with Buffalo. I agree. I think this game is going to be a fucking shootout. Both these teams' strengths completely capitalize on the other team's weaknesses. Whereas with Cincinnati, it's their passing attack completely dominating the Bills' secondary. For the Bills, it's their passing attack against Cincinnati's secondary, which their secondary is better than the Bills' secondary, but you get what I'm saying.
Yeah.
This is going to be a shootout. I'm pretty confident that. I just think with this being in Buffalo, I think that's a huge advantage for the Bills. And that's really where it's coming down to. I'm also buying into the narrative with the DeMar Hamlin stuff that they're going to be in full force of a roster and they're going to be playing at the top of their game. So I have Buffalo taking out Cincinnati. It's going to be a good one, though. I could see this going either way. I agree with you. Because I think whoever comes out of this matchup is going to the Super Bowl.
There you go. Yeah, I think this will be a great game. So we'll move on. Jaguars, Chiefs, not so much going to be a great game, in my opinion. I think the Chiefs will roll through Jacksonville. I don't know. Maybe it'll be like Cincinnati last year. Who was the 1 seed in the AFC last year?
It was Buffalo. No. It was the Chiefs. Because the Chiefs.
Then who did
it was Buffalo versus the Chiefs.
Who did the Bengals play second round?
The Titans. It was the Titans. That's right.
The fucking Titans.
Who did the Chiefs play in the first round last year? The Steelers. No, the Steelers.
Steelers.
It was the Steelers. That's right. It was the Steelers. Oh my God, that game was a fucking demolished smackdown.
I think we can all agree
this spank.
I think we can all agree this Chiefs team is a lot better than that Titans team from last year.
Just a little bit.
So I think it's not going to be the same thing there. I'm going to go with the Chiefs. But it would be cool to see Trevor in the spot. How well would he perform in Arrowhead in a divisional matchup? I would be excited to watch, but I think they're going to roll through him.
I will say Chiefs as of late haven't been super convincingly awesome. I mean, they beat the Raiders, but the Raiders were just checked out at that point. But they barely beat the Broncos, had a good win against the Seahawks, barely beat the Texans, barely beat the Broncos again, and then they lost to the Bengals. So take that as you will, but I'm still not betting against Patrick Mahomes and Andy Reid and all them.
Yeah.
Jacksonville, I would love to see you fucking go to the AFC Championship. That'd be so sick.
I mean, we would get the khaki shirt. It'd be
and
sick.
the khaki pants, and we'd
Yep.
look like a UPS driver.
I'd be down with it.
But I'm gonna take Kansas City here as well.
All right, moving on to the NFC. So I have what do I have? I have the Giants, Eagles,
Giants.
and we do, right? Yeah, you have the Eagles, Giants. All right, yeah, we'll talk about this.
And then I have San Fran, Dallas, and you have San Fran,
hold on. All right, next up, we got the Giants and we got the Eagles. Eagles will probably kill them. Okay. Well, I will say
kill them.
I will say though, it is a divisional matchup. The Giants, for whatever fucking reason, when they're that low seed in the playoffs, just always seem to work some magic. Maybe it'll be something this year, and I think that's what Sully was thinking when he predicted them over to the Eagles. But it would be ignorant for us to not acquaint for the amazing year they had, 14-3. I mean, AJ Brown, Devontae Smith, Dallas Goedert. You talked about the weapons they have on this team. They're absurd. And Jalen Hurts is playing unbelievable ball. He's an MVP candidate. So give me the Eagles here. Obviously, Lincoln Financial, there'll probably be under 12.5 people thrown out by the end of the game. I would take the over. So it'll be a crazy atmosphere, and I think they'll get it done.
I think the Eagles got probably the best hand drawn for them when it comes to a playoff seeding in both conferences. They get either the Giants. They can't face San Fran until the AFC Championship. And that's just like awesome because the rest of the teams I think they can beat. But yeah, like I said with the Giants, at some point, the talent deficiency is going to give. And they're playing against the most talented roster in football. So that's kind of where I'm at. I don't think the Eagles will like demolish them, but I think they'll win by like 10, 14, you know?
Yeah. Right on. And then for my last matchup, I got the Bucks Niners. You have the Cowboys Niners. I'm just going to go with the Niners here. I think on the road, this Tampa team is going to fall out of their luck just because of how bad they've been this season. Going up against a San Fran team at home, you got to travel 3,000 miles across the country. It's just a weird spot for them, and I think San Fran's going to win this game pretty comfortably as well.
Call me a hater, but I don't believe in Brock Purdy. We've seen what game managers do for this Niners offense and how far it can really get them. And this guy's a rookie. He's a rookie game manager. This isn't Jimmy Garoppolo. I mean, I know Purdy's been awesome, but like I said, at some point it's got to give, and you're going to have to face some sort of adversity. And he really has not faced adversity yet. And I think this matchup is the first time he will, and I just don't really believe in him being able to overcome it. Because they were steamrolling in the regular season. Like he had no problems whatsoever. Now that could be he's the next fucking Tom Brady and it doesn't fucking matter. And I'm just stupid. But I think we've seen this movie over and over again with San Francisco where we think they're going to go deep. We think they're going to win it all. And then their game manager quarterback, which is usually Jimmy Garoppolo, comes up short because they lose because he wasn't good enough. Now last year they lost because Stafford they dropped the interception, but then Jimmy Garoppolo got the ball back. No one wants to bring up that Jimmy Garoppolo got the ball back and then completely botched it.
It's terrible. Aaron Donald just had him for breakfast.
And then the Rams got the ball back and Cooper Kupp won them that game.
Yeah.
So no one wants to bring up that part of that game because Jimmy could have put the game to the end and just iced it, didn't do it. Obviously, with the Super Bowl, could have won the game, missed the throw to Emmanuel Sanders, which would have iced it, would have been over. They went no show in the fourth quarter. I don't know how I feel with that being a rookie quarterback that isn't athletically refined and gifted. If this was Trey Lance, I don't know how much better I would feel. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like if this was him and he was a second-year QB, I feel better about their chances of a high ceiling run, but I feel like they could also bottom out way easier.
Yeah.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
Which is why I ultimately feel like Trey Lance will still end up being this team's quarterback unless Brock Purdy makes it to the Super Bowl. But I still think this Dallas team is really freaking good. And I think after the Bucs game, they'll get right and be back on track. And they're going to be facing a team that has an inexperienced quarterback that has a lot of really good weapons that could really do damage. But I think they win it by the skin of their teeth and they pull out the dub. But it's Kyle Shanahan. We know how we talked about with Sean McVay, how Jared Goff is like his.
Yeah, he played quarterback for him.
That's kind of how I feel with Sean McVay or with Kyle Shanahan and Brock Purdy right now.
Right.
But they need that next step where the quarterback can be their own to win the Super Bowl.
Yeah. So. Well, almost out of time, but we've obviously talked about each team, so I'm going to go quick. AFC, I'm going to go with the Bengals. I've made my case about them by now.
Yeah, that's fair. Like I said winner of Bills Bengals, I think goes to the Super Bowl. I had the Bills winning. I'm going to have them beat the Chiefs. I think they get revenge for last year. And also the fact that this is going to be on a neutral site.
Oh, yeah.
Is going to play huge into this. I think that is fucking stupid, by the way. I think neither the Bengals nor the Bills give a shit if they lost out on home field advantage because of DeMar Hamlin.
Exactly.
I don't think either of the teams would have given a shit because he's okay. And that's all that they care about.
Right.
They don't need a neutral site to give up, but that obviously plays huge into the Bills' favor, which I think actually makes a big difference because the NFL is kind of giving the Bills like a leg up. If the Bengals make it to this AFC Championship, is it neutral site?
No,
it's not. It's only the Bills.
Correct.
That is ridiculous. It's only the Bills if it's against the Chiefs.
Yes.
That is ridiculous.
I believe that's the case. So
that is so ridiculous. But I will go with the Bills here.
Okay.
Even though I think this is another classic.
Game. I'd hope so. That'd be fun. All right, then I got the Niners and I got the Eagles in the NFC Championship. I feel like everything's kind of pointing for Philadelphia in this sense, but I kind of think San Fran's going to get it done on the road in an upset style. I trust this coaching staff. Obviously, like we've talked about, the only thing holding them back is Purdy. But I think they'll get it done, and I'm going to go San Fran.
But is he even really holding him back? That's the question we have to have answered in this playoffs. And I don't think we'll get that answered until the second round.
Right.
So I have Philly, Dallas. I think Philly's just too good from top to bottom to really pick against them. Mike McCarthy is this team's coach. Let's not forget. So I will pick Philly.
Yeah. And then for my Super Bowl, I got Bengals and Niners, which would be a fun Super Bowl. And I think the Bengals will get it done because they have the better quarterback, because they have the experience. They came here last year. I think they get their revenge. I'm going to go with the Bengals. My score prediction, I will go with 27-23.
Nothing would make me happier than Joe Burrow being a Super Bowl champion.
Yes.
I have Bills, Eagles, and I will be going with the Buffalo Bills over the Eagles. I'm going to go 33-24.
Okay.
I think Buffalo, if Buffalo makes it this far, they are going to ride momentum like no other team. Because this is a team that can get hot, and I think that they will stay hot because we saw them last year get hot and they fucking were hot the entire postseason. But obviously they lost to the Chiefs in one of the best games ever. I think they'll stay hot for the rest of the playoffs and pull out the dub. And with that score.
Yep. So playoffs, we're excited. It's this weekend. Catch all the action. That was great. Thank you guys for listening. highlighted All Sports Culture Podcast. Make sure to subscribe, follow us on Instagram. Until next time, we'll see you guys later.
Bye-bye.